Hey everyone, so this is just going to be I'm going to call it a part two, but it's actually not the planned part two. Just until I record part two, probably tomorrow, and then up ready straight away within a couple of hours. I feel like Nicola's energy around me has eased, so now I would need to tap to pull her back in a bit more, whereas previously for 2-3 months it was just always very present, and as well as Maddie. Maddie's part 5 is coming up as well, so do look out for that, and there's going to be more on that as well. Now what I want to say for this is I'm actually going to pull, I'm going to answer 2 questions that came up yesterday in the part 1 of Nicola Bulley's intro that I did. I know it's not very gossipy and juicy, but it was to just give that free platform for her. And what a lot of psychics tend to do is that they pull cards, they'll sit with themselves, they'll try and figure things out, and then they'll come back to you to pull cards again and show you what they got as they've pieced the puzzles behind the scenes, and then they bring it to you. I'm with Maddie. If you're following Maddie's story, I'm taking you on that journey with me. So there'll be some things that maybe there might be, you know, okay, we're going in this direction, but then there might be a little bit of a detour, an extra puzzle comes in, or someone says something. So that's what I'm going to do really with Nicola Bulley. But I think the next part, a lot of it is, I'm going to ask one question, but I think a lot of it I want to go through is signs that I've been getting and symbols. And I think they're going to be a bit different to maybe what you've seen on the platforms or in general in terms of the readings. And then we'll dive further into sort of the questions. One of the things that came up yesterday is that did I feel I was connecting to her with a swan spirit animal? And I presume this might be because others that maybe have channeled her have brought her through as a swan. I'm not sure. I'd say no. I'm getting very heightened sort of someone connected to nature. And I'm going to dive into this because there's a bit about soul purpose that I feel was coming in one of her life's lessons. And I think that's why also she pointed me to one of the cards and said, this card is representative of you. Because I think there's a lesson there that was tying in with hers, which we'll dive into. I'm actually getting the horse. Now, I can understand why the swan came through. I finally found out her full date of birth, and I find that extremely weird. On Wikipedia, it's got 1977, and it doesn't have the full date of birth, or it didn't 2-3 days ago when I was checking. She's a Libra, and I also checked on her partner who's a Libra. And also, thank you to someone who was watching the live premiere yesterday, also mentioned, I managed to get that comment before I jumped off with cringe at looking at myself. But the reason I did is so that I know that I'm not just channeling and blurting out stuff and trying to make sense of stuff as I go through it. And because I take these things really seriously, I'm not just here pulling tarot cards. Okay, it's a subject to pull tarot cards on, so you might feel that within me. But the swan is about tying in with Libra. It's about harmony. I'm going to go into Libra. I'm going to go into her her North Node as well and stuff like that, just to have an idea as we flow through. I'm also going to mention signs and names that I've been getting, and you might find that these tie in different stuff. A lot to be said, as you can see. I'm a bit all over. The swan is about harmony. It's about grace. It's about moving through life with grace. It's a big symbol of the lovers. It's, you know, even when you get a swan ornament, what is it? The two swans are normally like that, and then their body is coming out. What a beautiful a failure of 2 swans. And it's white. There's purity there. although it's not always said that the swan is necessarily for purity, but I took it with grace, lovers and harmony, and I can see why that would come through, being the Libra sign. I can also see that because I see a very gentle, kind energy around her, but I also feel there's a spark of passion and there's a drive there with her. There is an energetic element to Nicola. And when I was looking at some of the cards that came up yesterday, and I was looking at and trying to do her birth chart, the things where I said about relationships and then questioning, her possibly questioning, you know, herself and stuff, really made sense to me when, and I'm going to look into it a bit more in terms of her chart. And at first when it was coming up, I was thinking, what, you know, you're probably going to be thinking, what road is she going down here? But a lot was said that is actually making sense. And so as opposed to where I don't think it's been said on platforms or channeled, I'm going to continue with what I have to say, what's coming through to me and what I'm reading, because I think there's a lot more that's being said beyond that, where Nicola's bringing through, obviously. So I feel there's this sense of freedom, and I just entered or put in that sentence because I think she was having, when she went to that field, I think she was having some downloads, and I mentioned this. And there was an area in her life where I think she might have been stagnant. Now, she might have just started a new chapter in terms of, I know she was a mortgage advisor, but a new chapter in terms of work or something around that, maybe being actually contracted to something as opposed to a freelancer. Maybe prior to that, there was some worries. But just going to the horse energy, it's really about freedom. It's really about where have you felt stagnant, or you feeling stuck or possibly misaligned in your life, which a lot of it is around relationships, whether it's to do with work, whether it's to do with yourself, whether it's to do with the environment. And it's really, a horse is humanity's greatest partner. There's mental agility there. As a horse is running, the air element is there, yet it's grounded, there's the feet in nature. I was talking about how nature and horse energy people can, or the horse energy can accomplish great things as well. Something with the horses, do you have the reins to it? Are you having the reins to it? Or are things getting out of control? Or are you not saying no enough to your own life and to where you need to? It could be in the opposite direction if you're in your shadow self. Are you putting too many rigid boundaries? Have you a sense of lost freedom? And it tells you to breathe in and be your authentic self. Don't let desires of others fence you in as well. And also, I mentioned something about travel and foreign lands yesterday, and there was plans forward for something. And this is very much like a horse, you know, you like to venture and be on your own terms in a certain sense. With the horse, it's about refreshing energy as well, and endurance and ambition, and hold on to the horse energy to ride forward in your destiny or what you wanted to do. It creates opportunities and is a medicine to help sort of break from stagnant energies. It's freedom basically. But I'm going to pull it out and see what I can say with it. But that's the energy I'm getting with her. I can see the swan, like I said, about harmony, grace, and in terms of lovers, etc. But horse is one. It might change, because you know when you channel at the beginning, this is why people need to go through, souls need to go through the healing. as they heal, they see things from the other perspective. So you go through a life journey. It's like a film that you're taken through. Sometimes when your death is sudden, or there's been resistance to it, or even you've had resistance to leave the earth, then you can be in a different energy to where you are. But I feel like her energy before what happened was strongly sort of horse. And if you think of a horse, it's kind of loving. If you think of horse energy is, your heart is pure and free. A greater purpose calls you. You have unlimited reserves of stamina and strength. You follow the winds of change and you can accomplish your dreams. Okay. I'm going to just shuffle and see what else we get just out of Nicola. Show me another spirit animal. Okay. Heron, patience. Okay. There is a swan in here, by the way. Create a place in nature's stillness. It very much relates to what I was saying. And be renewed. Take time alone to find balance. Step confidently towards your purpose. Patience is going to bring you the rewards. And I think this is, we touched base on this yesterday, connecting to nature and feeling back into balance. And interesting, herons, you know, they're not an animal totem that we always hear of. So for that to come out, is interesting. And then if you think of the two words, patience, have patience around your freedom. And maybe she was getting a bit anxious about that. There was something around that. There's a personal choice card, but that's not, the swan hasn't come out. But I know that the swan is graceful, it's harmony, and it's also a lover's totem card, you know, because I do tarot pull readings. Now, the other question I got, which I know the answer to, but I'm going to pull cards, okay? It's funny because I feel Nicola's energy around me, but sometimes I feel it very strongly. So at the moment, I do kind of, but she's wavering in and out. Okay, maybe someone else is channeling her or something. But we're going to go with my spirit guides. Can I see? The question we got yesterday, was you happy with the outcome of the inquest? Was you happy with the outcome of the inquest? High Priestess, intuition. Your dreams, when your dreams speaking to you, something is not clear in the 3D reality. The reason I've paused is because this tells me that we're, you know, intuitively it's not making sense. And that's why, you know, it's there's something to come forward, okay? There's an epiphany to come forward if we just listened to our soul and our intuition. Something that's hidden. I feel like, now, if I tap into this, I feel like someone knows, someone who doesn't necessarily know as in they did something or saw something, but their intuition is telling them what's happened, okay? And I feel like their intuition is also pounding them. Was you happy with the inquest, Nicola? Got the Page of Swords that came out. The Page of Swords is basically the inquest where they've done apparently some research. It can be restless energy, so I feel like this is saying actually they were rushing to just get it closed, okay? This could also be around the family that just wanted things to close off. The Page of Swords is also is like a junior, is not the most, and I'm not saying about who handled it, but it's not the most comprehensive. It's the starter, the researcher. and the communication that comes in. Can you tell me, was you happy with the outcome of the inquest? Was you happy with the outcome of the inquest, Nicola, please, and spirit guides? 9 of Wands, feeling very wounded because she's been very resilient in terms of hoping for an outcome and people to follow their intuition. The Sun card, in order to bring light to this. And bring it back into balance. Reflection. Virgo energy. 7 of Wands, where there's been conflict, drama and grounded needing to happen, where there's vulnerability needed to be honored. Where if we took time out between our intuition and we did some self-reflection, you're going to realize that it wasn't the right thing. I think this strongly speaks. She thinks it, you know, from what I'm getting is it was something that was just like a junior could do. It wasn't detailed enough. It wasn't comprehensive enough. I'm getting that word come through. Where she was fighting for resilience, that hopefully by the time of the inquest that it will be the right outcome, that it will be shine a light and success, and that she'll be liberated. It didn't actually do that. Instead, it brought this, where she's still trying to fight, stay grounded. She felt quite vulnerable after it. And there's been a need for time. I think this is on the healing journey, for some self-reflection. So that's the question again. Pulled that card without asking the question. Can you tell me more about the outcome of the inquest? Was you happy? King of Cups, needing to be in emotional balance. The people there and the people around her. Interesting, there's water there. 2 of Wands is where you make a plan. I was going to say one last card, Hierophant. It's the card we started with. So, seeing as I got this, I'm going to go into it. When I first got the reading, when I first started the reading, I pulled this. There's 3 numbers that I feel are quite significant in this case that we're going to get. One of them was 7. I started the reading off. The other one is 5, and 9 is significant. 5 is about change, but here is the Hierophant. This is where she's been the spiritual enlightenment, okay? It's breaking away from what governments and frameworks want to make you believe, and you following the path that you believe is true. So that tells you something here on the outcome. These cards she could have easily given me the Wheel of Fortune. If you think you're winning and you're on top, it's going to change, because everyone who's on top needs to go down, and everyone who's down needs to go up. And it's tying in with what I'm going to say here. When I pulled this card yesterday, I felt it was about her soul purpose and her spiritual awakening and learning that this has happened, and I had to go through this on my 3D experience. But I can also see this being her saying, I will get the last laugh. That's what I felt from it yesterday. With the Wheel of Fortune coming out with that as well. A turn in luck, a turn of when things are low, they change. things come to fruition. The sun shines the light on the truth. People need to do some self-reflection. Probably the energies around her. And this is also where she'd felt wounded, hoping the inquest would bring to light what was needed. What would be her next steps? Even as a soul, what would be her next steps? She tried to remain grounded, seeing everything that was happening. And we still haven't gone into what happened, but in general, we're doing one of those readings, like I said, where psychics and intuitive readers, we go behind the scenes, do these readings alone, tie them up, piece the puzzle, come on camera. I'm doing them with you for us to go on this journey. Challenge, fighting off drama, fighting off conflict of opinions, and the Wheel of Fortune. What goes up must come down, and when you're down, things turn up. The Wheel of Fortune is returning. It's Jupiter and expansion. Hierophant. I really feel like this is also saying that I will get the last laugh here. She won't stay in this wounded healer. Wounded warrior trying to be resilient. And if people just listen truly, the truth is known. Needing to tap into and trust ourselves of what's hidden. And the inquest itself doesn't necessarily mean, she doesn't see it done in the proper way, as comprehensive as it should, as making sense of how it should. Now the Six of Pentacles, I just want to pull a card of clarification on that. Can I have a card clarifying the Six of Pentacles in terms of your inquest? I don't know how to say this, but something around money and receiving the inquest in the end to what's needed. Can I have a card for the Six of Pentacles? Eight of Wands, breakthrough. Success in terms of bringing into what they felt needed to just come to an end, be tied up. You can't pay for the inquest, but there's something there with this, and that brings the breakthrough and the success of closing it off. But then there is this Page of Swords. And I just can see the Six of Wands here. Recognition, fame, being in the media, having the limelight, which is what we're seeing at the moment happening, or happened. Interesting energies here. Very elevated energies, very elevated message. It's not totally comprehensive to the I was just called to pull another card towards the Six of Pentacles, and it's the Queen of Pentacles. It's about wealth and abundance, but also being spiritually aligned. But again, it's about money. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, and we'll go into part 2 coming up. Take care.